Hey, Fit Fam. Skye Hanley here, the Limitless Nutritionist and Challenge Queen. I'm bringing you another most amazing video. When I say that today, I do not mean that lightly. I am absolutely thrilled and honored to bring you the information that I'm bringing you today, because the stuff that we are going to talk about could not only change some of your fear-driven patterns within business, but it will also give you a greater understanding and some tools that you can utilize also in your everyday life, all right? So the information that I'm going to bring you today, I know and recognize because it's stuff that I actually utilize in my everyday life, in the life with my partner all the time, right? He understands the information that I'm going to give you. And obviously I'm bringing today's lessons into context of, but I just don't look like a trainer. All right. And it's so interesting to me. Can I just point out, oh my goodness, like so much love and validity to everybody out there. All right. Because this, I guess, sentence, this fear, within the fitness industry, it's so interesting because there's so much of it out there, the amount of times that I've heard trainers say to me, but I just don't look like a trainer. I just don't want to put myself out there, and I feel like I'm going to get judged or, all those different things. All right. So it's really interesting that this has been coming up lately. And I have, as I said, a most amazing, analogy to be able to explain this further to you today. So I first just wanted to pay, I guess, tribute and validation to that particular fear. The other interesting thing that I want to point out, right, is that notice how I don't even know what it's up to now. It's like 20 or 30, I posted this morning and 20 or 30 different people have said, yes, tag me in today's video. So please, if you are out there thinking like, oh my gosh, it's just me, every other trainer out there, has muscles and big boobs and a tan and all the different things, right? Like just see that there are so many other trainers out there and around that are either feeling that same feeling or moving, around with that same fear. But what I can tell you is about fear, is that we can fear something and we can act anyway. All right. So you can fear judgment, and we're going to talk about, fear of judgment and things like that today as we go along. You can fear judgment and you can still act anyway. And I'm going to give you the tools today so that you are able to do that. All right. No BS. It's like, if ever I've been called to a higher purpose to serve, today is the fucking day, right? Like I'm so pumped, as I said, and honored to be able to bring this to you. It gives me goosebumps. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about, and I actually printed the definition because I wanted to make sure that I gave you a really useful definition of something that might be coming up for you. Let me tell you actually the three things I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a definition, all right, that I think is really relevant, that can come up for a lot of us when we go, oh my gosh, I just don't look like a trainer, all right? I'm going to give you the definition. I'm going to give you some information, obviously, then, like a little bit of a lesson, this amazing thing, amazing tool, all right? That's actually the third thing I'm giving you is the tool so that you're able to understand what is coming up for you when you're thinking the thoughts of, but I just don't look like a trainer, all right? What is actually psychologically going on for you? Because it's more than just, oh, but I have flabby arms. Like there's underlying things, all right? So we're going there, but you'll be okay. I promise you're in a safe space. We're going to talk about self-reflection, all right? Because sometimes it's really important to have an unemotional look inwards. Alrighty, and actually, I quite like it, right? Having an unemotional look, oh, thank God, because let's not emote for a second, and it's like, okay, what's happening for me? What is being triggered? What is coming up? And what does that mean? All right. And then when we can have, when we understand the definition and have the information and we can have this unemotional look at what's actually going on underneath, but I just don't look like a trainer, right? Then we can implement the tools that are going to change and adapt your experience moving forward. Does that make sense, everyone? So let me just say, if you are watching this back, if you're watching this now, say, hey, how's it going? I just want to see, who's here and that you're still with me. All right, because we're going there. And if you're watching this back, please just write replay or something like that, so I know that you've watched the replay back. Because again, I'm so excited to share this. Now, the definition that I actually wanted to share with you, something that could be coming up for you, right, is what's called imposter syndrome. Have you heard of that? I feel like maybe that topic, that title, I guess. is kind of mainstream. Like maybe you've heard it, right? Like, imposter syndrome. All right. So what is imposter syndrome? Now, imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which a person doubts their own accomplishments, all right? Doubts their own, doubts their own accomplishments and experiences. Excuse me. Let me just read it to you, shall I? So imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which you doubts yours, your accomplishments, and has a persistent internalization of fear of being exposed as a fraud. All right? Does that resonate? Let me know. Because what comes up when you say, I just don't look like a trainer, is imposter syndrome, is this fear that you are going to be exposed as a fraud because your biceps are not big enough, because your boobs aren't perky, round and fake, because your waistline, isn't like this big, or you're not tanned enough, or whatever it is that comes up for you, right? Like, it's fear. And let me tell you something about fear. Everything in life comes from two places. It comes under the heading of fear, or it comes under the heading of love. All right, so fear or love. All right, we humans, us, right? We are a biological, chemical, hormonal mess of beliefs, of feelings, of experiences, of all these different things that come up for us, of fears, of loves, right? Of needs and unmet needs. And we're going to talk about those. So when you're sitting there and saying to yourself, but I just don't look like a trainer, that is the surface-based outward reflection of what's actually being internalized. Does that make sense, everyone? And what's actually underneath the surface is possibly some imposter syndrome. All right, that somehow, your clients are going to look at you and they're going to judge you. And they're going to see that you're just a fake and a fraud, and really you have no information in your head whatsoever. And, if you can't do it, then how can they? Or all these different things. But let me tell you a secret, right? Your clients do not care if you are a size 8 or a size 16 for females, or men, if you have your own weight loss journey or you're still on a weight loss journey. They don't care. What they care about is that 1, you have the knowledge to share with them, 2, that you are motivational and inspiring, 3, that you make them feel human. All right? Because as I said, we are a chemical, biological, hormonal mess of, cesspool of whatever, right? So making other people feel human and like they're okay, and that it's okay for them to stuff up, and that they don't need to beat themselves up, but to get back on the wagon, to be motivating. This is the things that your clients actually care about. Alrighty? And the last thing, number 4 is, do you care? Are you empathetic? Do you understand what it is that your clients are going through? And trust me, if you have your own health and fitness journey, as I do myself, 25 kilos overweight, totally overwhelmed in the unhappiness of my own existence, till I heard a saying that changed my life. And the saying was, our lives will only expand in proportion to how much courage we are willing to have. Our lives, my life, would only expand, would only get bigger, would only get better, would only get more amazing, and invite in all the different things that I fucking wanted in life. Love, existence, expansion, all of these things would only happen in proportion to how much courage I was willing to have. Which means I have to stand up and be seen every single day, right? And it's the same for you. We do not need confidence. What we need is momentary courage. You can fear something and you can do it anyway. All right. So what right now, this is my question to you, what right now is this story that you're telling yourself, but I just don't look like a trainer? What the hell is a trainer meant to look like? I don't look like a trainer. I could say that too if I wanted to. But the thing is, actually, I believe the opposite. I fucking look like a trainer. You know why? Because I'm a real human in a real human body with my own real human better health journey, with not just expertise, because I've done I do the do every single day. I pick health in, most decisions that I make, but I'm allowed to be human too, the same as you, right? So what does a trainer look like? We're all trainers. We're all personal trainers. We're all exercise specialists, whatever title you want to go under. Maybe you're a group fit instructor. Amazing. You are brilliant. We are all amazing human beings. And if you care about your clients, and and their better health journeys, and you have understanding, imposter syndrome, give yourself the credit for the experience, the life that you've lived, the changes you've had to make in your own existence, and your ability to be able to turn your expertise, your understanding, the lessons you have learned from going to PT school, as well as your experiences in life, your own better health journey, into information that is coming out of your mouth that is able to help your soul tribe. Because trust me, your soul tribe gets you. And there is evidence of that everywhere. Alrighty? There are no imposters here. It's that simple. But what I want to actually do is give you an amazing self-reflective lesson. Alrighty? So if you're still sitting there thinking, oh God, I don't know, Skye, this is all a bit woo-woo, like I don't get it, but I just don't look like a trainer. I don't have massive biceps. I don't, like have a whatever bootylicious booty ass, whatever kind of thing. If you're still sitting there and thinking that, then I want you to really pay attention to this next part of the lesson. Alrighty? Super excited to actually bring this to you. I even drew a diagram, you guys. All right, so this is an iceberg, alrighty? Now I'm going to cover some of it up because I want to bring it to you piece by piece, but I wanted to show you that there is actually an entire flow here, and I promise you it'll make sense. Let me just press some things for a second just to make sure that, okay, that'll do, whatever. Blah. Now, what did I want to say? That's what I was going to say. It's actually really funny that at the end of this week, we're going on a cruise. So I'm using an iceberg analogy literally on a week that I'm about to jump on a cruise myself. Thank God we're not leaving Australian waters. Quite funny. But anyway, let me bring you this information. So I use this. I use this in my life all the time for so many different reasons. It is just so impactful once you understand what's going on here. It will change your dynamics. It will change your relationships. It will change your experience of the world. All right. It will change your thoughts. It will change your triggers and thoughts. All right. So this is an iceberg. Now, what happens on top, all right, is we get triggered by something. Okay. And what this is like a trigger could be something like, oh, somebody told me again I really should do a live video, but I just don't look like a trainer and I'm embarrassed and I'm, all these different things, right? So something triggers us, all right? And what might happen is maybe we have an issue, or maybe a trigger can also be something can trigger us and we end up having an argument. Like if we're talking, relationship or life or, whatever, right? So an argument happens on whatever topic. This is the surface-based stuff. This is the stuff that we can see above the water. All right. It could be our behaviors. Okay. So something might trigger us that switches on a particular behavior in us. Or, for this instance, but I just don't feel like a trainer, or I just don't look like a trainer, excuse me. It triggers our thoughts, the voices in our head that creep in that tell us we're not good enough and that we don't look like a trainer and that who do we think we are? And you think you can be successful in a, non-mainstream job, right? So these thoughts can be poison, And the funny thing is, I learned a long time ago, let me teach you, is that, or let me tell you rather, is that we don't always have to believe our first thoughts. We don't always have control over our first thoughts, but we can always control our second thoughts. Because I used to find that I'd get I get stuck in anger, surface-based. Like I'd be angry about things, right? And I'd be like, that makes me so angry and whatever. And then somebody said to me, well, you can't always control your first thought, which was, I'm offended by this, or I'm annoyed, or I'm frustrated, or you shouldn't have said that to me, or whatever it is, right? But we can always control our second. And so to put some breath and some pause in there to work out what the hell is going on, with the rest of the iceberg. Does that make sense? You all still with me? So this is what's happening up the top for you guys right now. If you're thinking, but I just don't look like a trainer, something is triggering you and it's triggering your thoughts to make you think that. But it's just a thought. So what's happening underneath? So the next two layers kind of come in together a little bit, all right? And to be honest with you, these two next layers I actually find the hardest, all right? I can sometimes know the thought and what comes, down the bottom is like history and things, and we'll talk about that. I can sometimes know those two, but the two middle ones sometimes, take a little extra thinking. And I'm going to give you some examples once we explain the amazing iceberg analogy. So you get triggered. Your thought says, but I just don't look like a trainer. Why the fuck does that matter? Like, what does that even mean, right? And the thing is that it means that some kind of emotion is actually coming up for you. All right. And it might be something like fear, as we know, but fear is almost like fear and anger are kind of like headings of their own. But under those things, there's a whole bunch of subheadings. All right. So fear, maybe judgment is coming up, maybe worry or anxiety, maybe shame, guilt, or, in this instance, it's probably your worthiness or your worthlessness is being triggered. But I just don't look like a trainer. I don't, I'm not enough. I don't look good enough. I'm not worthy of my clients that I have. What emotion is coming up? Shame. And let me tell you something about shame and guilt. They are the lowest 2 frequency emotions that we can feel. You guys will hear me when I teach other, little mini seminars and videos and stuff like that. And I will say to you guys, I'll say, some of the mistakes I see trainers make. And I'll list out a mistake that I'm like, oh my God, this is what we're doing wrong and blah, blah. And you will always hear me say to I guess, bookend that. But I am not here to shame you. I am not doing that. We have all been there. You will see me put my hand up because I will say, me too, guys. Me too. I fucking made the mistakes. That's why I know what I know now, right? And so, I never am going out of my way to shame anyone because shame and guilt are some of the lowest frequency emotions that we can feel. And if it's self-loathing, right? Because I just don't look like a trainer. Maybe that's what's being triggered, right? Is worthlessness and self-loathing. All right? So can you see again, like we've got, up here, we're getting triggered by something and our thought is, but I just don't look like a trainer. Oh, you want me to make a live video, do you? Well, I just don't look like a trainer. I don't have to put myself out there. I'm not going to do that. I don't even know what to say. The excuses will flow, right? But what you need to do is put the breath in, put the pause in. Can't always control the first thought, but we can control the second. So the second thought can be, right, what emotion is this thought of, but I just don't look like a trainer bringing up for me? I don't feel worthy. I don't look good enough. I feel shamed and guilty because I had a couple of wines on the weekend. Is that coming up for you? Is it self-loathing? Because you've been on your own better health journey? Let me tell you something. That makes you more real and human than somebody standing next to you with massive biceps who has always been a fit motherfucker, right? So you can see, all right, we've got, triggers, and that's triggering our thoughts. What's happening underneath is some sort of an emotion. So you need to recognize the emotion or what is actually being triggered for you, all right? Because the thought is just a thought. We don't actually have to believe all the thoughts that come into our head, right? It's like 90% of them are bullshit. Are the same stories that we're telling ourselves day after day after day. That's why thoughts are so important and making sure that what you're telling yourself is positive, is good, that you're using amazing language with yourself, right? Because, whatever we are thinking, we kind of feel like it's real, and our brain, there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and the reticular activating system will search out the evidence to tell you whatever you're telling yourself is true. So if you're saying to yourself, but I just don't look like a trainer, and it's triggering your worthlessness or it's triggering self-loathing, then the reticular activating system is going to go searching for the thing that you're thinking about, evidence. But you don't just look like a trainer. Look at that trainer over there. Look at their biceps. Look at one of your clients who's fitter and skinnier and more vegan than you are, right? Like your brain will search out for the evidence. So we need to make sure that what we're telling ourselves is the truth. And by truth, I mean, is the positive, amazing, universal being that you are. Now, what's happening under emotions? And as I said, these two things generally come together. Alrighty? So we're triggered by whatever. It kicks in this thought that says, but I just don't look like a trainer. What emotion is actually coming up for you that we need to recognize is if it's self-loathing, if it's shame, if it's guilt because you think you should be different, but you ate that pizza on the weekend and you're struggling and then you go and tell your clients that they shouldn't eat pizza. Who the fuck do you think you are? Is it triggering stuff like that? You know who you are? Human. Perfect, right? So what happens underneath emotions and also, generally comes together is there is some unmet need. There is generally an unmet need or there are some needs, all right? So you either have a need for something or you have a need that is not being met, okay? Now, I wrote these down because I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget any of the big main ones, all right? Because often what's happening in here, it could be anything. There are all sorts of, needs like, that could be coming up. But the big sort of 5, right? The big 5 needs are generally safety. So am I safe and secure? So am I safe? Am I loved? Am I worthy? Am I enough? And do I belong? All right? So something's triggering you. You're having this thought, but I just don't look like a trainer. It's bringing up self-loathing and self-worth issues. You're feeling worthless, shame, and guilt. And what's happening underneath is that there is some sort of need, a need to be liked, a need to be loved, a need to belong, a need to feel as if you are enough, a need of worthiness that is maybe not being met, or that's being triggered and you don't know how to meet that need in other ways. So what you're doing is triggering thoughts that are unhelpful thinking, that don't serve you, right? There's no point in self-poisoning, beating ourselves up, sitting in shame and guilt and worthlessness and self-loathing. It's self-poison. It's sabotage. And we don't want that, more so than sabotage. I just hate the thought that you could be sitting in some of those feelings, those emotions. Alrighty? So there's an unmet need. So for you, what is it? Do you not feel safe and secure? Is that being brought up for you? Is it like your need to be liked and to be loved? And so you're a yes human. Behaviors, you're a yes human. You say yes to everyone even when you don't have capacity to be able to say yes, right? Arguments, unmet need. I don't feel loved. And then my partner comes home and ignores me because he's tired, but I take that as some kind of offense against me. And so I start an argument with him, right? So that we can have at least a connection, even though it's not love. At least if we're arguing, that means that he must care enough to argue with me, right? That happens for a lot of people and a lot of couples. So what is the unmet need that's happening under here? And as you can see, and as I said, I'm going to give you lots of examples because this stuff, it's not just for, us trainers but I just don't look like a trainer. It's also, for life. And if you can understand this, oh my goodness, trust me, your world opens up and your ability to deal with life's challenges and problems and your capacity for growth, can skyrocket. So we're triggered. It triggers thinking or behaviors, maybe an argument or an issue, something surface-based. But under the surface-based stuff, we have the emotions. What emotions are being triggered for you, all right? Is it fear? And what does that fear look like? Because fear is a very broad topic, fear or anger, pretty broad. Well, it's judgment, it's worry, it's anxiety, it's shame, it's guilt, it's self-loathing, and it's my worthlessness. I don't feel worthy of the clients that I have because I don't even look like a trainer. Who the fuck do I think I am? Under that is your need, and your need to be liked, your need to feel as if you are enough, or your need, for safety and security, which, you might feel through compliments, through a particular amount of clients, whatever it is that's coming up for you. Now, underneath that, and as I said, there's another layer that I find is, sometimes easier here, right? So history and experiences, all right? Personality and beliefs. Because under everything, under all of our experience in life are these things. Is there a history where you have felt worthless in the past? Is there a history, or have you had an experience with shame or with guilt? And so now, these thoughts are being triggered. Your emotions are judgment. Judgment is switching on your need to feel worthy, and that's because, when you were a child, something happened then. All right. Now let me tell you a little story so that I can give some more context to this entire thing, okay? And I'm just going to use myself as an example so that I can show you how this works, like in motion, all right? Does that make sense? So bear with me. Now, some things you'll know about me, some things you might not know about me, but I have a really good example. Back in the day, 15 years ago, right? Lots of stuff happened in my family, okay? And again, this is not like a sob story. Like, I love everything about my existence. I am a product of everything that has come before me. So everything that I am now and get to bring to you guys is literally a product of all of my past and my history, my experience, my beliefs, my personality, all of those things. So let me preface by saying this isn't a sob story by any means, but it just sounds really fucking epic, right? So in a short amount of time, in approximately about 5 years, when I was around 18, 19, 20, all right, at that age, I actually got sick twice and I nearly died both times, right? My body and my blood was poisoned for two totally different reasons. If you know what golden staph is, I had golden staph. That was one of the things. And I had something else crushing my spine, my nerve endings. I was paralyzed for, many weeks, rushed off, emergency, like the whole thing twice, two different times within this kind of 5-year period. In that time, we also lost a large amount of family members. And I'm talking like direct family members. So not great auntie such and such, not, like one cousin twice removed or something like that. I'm talking, absolute direct key family members. I had a big family, and we're a family of about 3 now. Because we lost, my poor mom, lost her father, so my grandfather, but she lost her father, she lost her brother, so a sibling, and he was probably 40 something at the time. She lost her husband, my stepfather, the absolute love of her life, the reason that I understand love and the universe and the amazingness that life can be is because of the love that I saw growing up between my mum and my stepdad. My stepdad was my dad, absolutely. As well. And my mum lost him as well. And that's 3 of probably about 10 people, right? Like my mum lost her best friend of 50 years, and we lost a few other key close family members, all right? Now, breathe, all right? So you can imagine this period of time in my life of feeling uncertain and feeling like unsafe, all right? And you can see how perhaps in life some things could get triggered. And it's really interesting because years down the track, within the last few years, guess what's been triggered? The happier I get, the more successful that I get, and I'm going deep here with you guys, so that you understand how this actually plays out in life. The happier I get and the more successful I become, and not just like, yes, success, blah, 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 but I get to share and talk and touch more lives, how exciting that is. And let me tell you, I'm not a massively anxious kind of a person, but the more success and love and light and brilliance that I'm able to bring into my life actually started triggering anxiety. And it was weird anxiety, like that feeling like I feel like something is wrong even though I know nothing is wrong. It wasn't anxiousness about, oh my God, all these people can see me, or oh my gosh, what a responsibility. It wasn't that. Like you'd think it could be that, but it literally wasn't. It was just this feeling of something is wrong even though nothing was wrong. And that's actually where I came across this sort of work, because I was like, okay, well, I can recognize that there is an unhelpful thinking pattern, something that is being triggered in me that I don't understand, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so the trigger is I'm getting happy. What that's bringing up are these feelings of anxiety because, oh my gosh, I'm happy, but why? And it's much easier to be able to go back here and sometimes miss the middle, right? We sort of struggle in the middle. But if we go back here, well, history. What does my history say? I'm not safe. And then anytime life starts to get good again, oh my goodness, when I went on my own health journey and life started to get amazing again, I was like, yes, 25 kilos gone, sorted out my life, became a personal trainer, all these amazing things. Guess what fucking happened? I got diagnosed with MS, a disabling and degenerative, disease. And you guys know that. And by no means, I was like, thank you, doctor. I will take your diagnosis, but I'm not taking your prognosis because, my life is going to be different to that. And so you can see every time something starts to go up, it's like, bam, life lesson or some big thing ends up happening. So as I get happier, what gets triggered because of my past experience is an anxiety, because fear is trying to keep me safe, because it's saying you need to be ready, you need to be, on alert, something's coming, something's going to happen, be ready for it. So it's giving me, so I'm having this anxiety of like something's wrong even though I know nothing is wrong. Sorry, my nose is just like, I'm not crying. You're crying, I'm not crying. Okay. So do you see how sometimes when we understand or we see what reaction is happening on the surface, all right, emotion, what's it bringing up? Well, it's bringing up anxiety for me and some uncertainty, and it's feeling really uncomfortable and icky. And where am I feeling it in my body? What's the unmet need? Well, maybe, it's triggering, my safety. Am I safe? Right? Do I belong? Like what's happening, and the fear that it's bringing up. And the reason it's bringing up those things is because I have a history and experience that in close proximity, every time something bad happens and life seems to be getting good again, some other fucking bad thing happens and then, whatever. But the amazing thing about history and experience that I want to let you all know is that our history and our experience does not have to dictate our future. All right? I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to feel successful and to feel amazed that I'm able to touch so many lives. Does that make sense? Like it does not need to trigger me, and it should not. trigger me into feeling like, oh my gosh, something's going on, like there's something wrong, what do I need to be watching out for? There's a bear that's about to attack me, right? Because that's the thing, all of this is like caveman, fight or flight responses that are coming up for us, except there is no bear, all right? There's this thought that, but I just don't look like a trainer. But what's under that thought? All right, because there's going to be some worthiness, some I'm not enough, some belonging, like this longing to belong. Maybe there is some experience and some history there where you felt like you didn't belong or you felt worthless. Let me give you a different example. So something that triggers me up here, right? Something that triggers me is blame. Okay, so blame triggers me, and what's happening on the surface when I get triggered is I get defensive. All right, so if I feel blamed for something, like I actually get, like I'll get defensive. Okay, like because I have a history, like in the past where I had some bad work situations before I hit the fitness industry, and I felt really blamed for some things that weren't my fault. And that was a really awful and, slightly traumatic experience, right? So in my history and in my past, I have, examples of when I felt really blamed, and what that brings up for me is powerlessness. So what is the emotion or what is the feeling that's being brought up? Powerlessness. How is it showing up though? Defensiveness. I'm being defensive. So it's triggering me to be defensive up here on the surface. But what's actually being triggered is my powerlessness, and the thing that's triggering me is feeling blamed. Because my experience is that when I get blamed for something, even if it's not even real, I feel powerlessness, like I can't do anything. And we can go, what is my unmet need there? To feel heard or to be understood. Does that make sense? So you can see, and it's amazing, and full disclosure, the reason I know that one is because my partner and I use this in our, in our daily lives, right? Because he might be like, oh my gosh, surface-based, oh my God, the sink is literally, the sink is filling up and you keep pulling the plug out and it's like, there's getting all the scraps in it and now it's backing up, right? And I'm like, oh my God, triggered, right? Blame. I didn't, it's not me. I didn't do it. Don't blame me for the sink kind of thing. Defensive, all right? Triggered because we're fucking talking about a sink. It's bringing up defensiveness because I feel blamed. And what's amazing when you can understand this in yourself and when you can see it happening in another person, it actually changes the entire way that you move through the world, all right? Because if he understands that, oh, okay, she's being defensive, it's not personal against him. It's that something has triggered me because I'm feeling blamed and because of a past thing and some powerlessness, and I have a need to feel heard. He can go, okay, cool. So she's feeling defensive. I can hear that. So I can change my tactic in how I might talk to her or make her feel valid or whatever it is. All right. This actually played out on the weekend as well. Another example, because I really want you guys to understand this because it's super powerful when you do, all right? So on the weekend, I was in the car with my mom and we were talking, whatever, and she's having some email issues or something like that. And she's literally, saying, I don't know, I don't get it, it's not working, it used to work and it doesn't work now, and, all these different things. And so I was like, okay, trying to help her. And so I was asking questions and I was like, so I'm like, have you tried this? Have you looked there? Could it be this? But for me in my brain, literally all I was doing was going through the check boxes of I see what your problem is. I don't know, I'm not super techie. I don't wear glasses like my gorgeous nerd human. And I'm like, so I'm just kind of going through the things that I might know that could be it and just seeing what she has and hasn't tried. So I'm asking a couple of questions and literally my mum turned around and she sort of snapped, not snap, but she just sort of went, I'm not an idiot, of course I tried that. And I was like, so I was asking her questions. And, and that triggered something. Her surface-based reaction was to be sharp, right? Because she went, I'm not an idiot, of course I checked that. Now, if I wanted to just take stuff at a surface-based level, here, I could have gone, all right, well, I'm just trying to help you, aren't I? I'm just fucking asking questions. Don't snap at me. I'm fucking trying to help you out. Don't even fucking worry about it then. I won't help you, right? Like, can you see how I could have reacted? You know, because she snapped at me. Who the fuck does she think she is snapping at me? Not what I was thinking at the time, but something triggered her. And because I could hear what she said, right? She said, what, do you think I'm some kind of idiot or something? Of course I checked that, you know? And I wasn't attacking her. And so you can hear that the emotion or something that was brought up, what she felt, like she felt stupid. Like, and she felt uncomfortable because she's not comfortable with techie things. And so me just going through my checklist in my head, because I don't fucking know anything either. And I'm just like, is it this? Could it be that? Like, I don't know. Triggered her to sort of like snap a little bit because her, you know, am I enough? Am I worthy? Am I intelligent? Like, you know, all those different things, like shame for feeling like she should know more than she does, or that it shouldn't be as hard, or it shouldn't feel as icky, you know, guilt around those sorts of things. All of that is being triggered. What is her unmet need? Maybe she's just feeling like a failure at the moment. There could be an unmet need where she wants to feel success, and it's frustrating when this thing isn't going on. And does she have some experience and some, you know, some history where maybe, you know, fear of failure or fear of success has come up before? And the thing is, yes, I know that she does. All right. And so the last part of this, so that you understand, and this is the example, is that true empathy and understanding happens at this level. All right. So I told you what I could have reacted, right? I could have gone, fuck mom, I'm just trying to help you. Like, why fucking snap at me? You know, like, don't worry then, I won't fucking help you. I could have done that, couldn't I? Because she snapped at me. Like, who does she think she is snapping at me like that when I'm just trying to help? I could have reacted like that. But because I could see it, I could see this in play. Something triggered her, and I just asked her a question, and I knew in my head and I knew in my heart that obviously I wasn't trying to trigger her, or there wasn't any malice in anything. I was literally just going through the checklist in my own dumb technology brain, trying to work out, well, these are the things I'd try. I don't know. Mentioning them to her, and her snapping so sharply, you know, and saying, I'm not an idiot, you know, I went, okay. So she's feeling guilt and shame and worthlessness, or, you know, it's bringing up some fear of failure and stuff like that. I know there's some history there of having fear against, you know, fear of failure, fear of success. And so because I understand that and I knew that, I could change the way that I then reacted and I then behaved. I didn't need to lash out at her. I didn't need to snap back. I just sort of said, okay, like, that's cool. Like, honestly, I'm not like, you know, I'm not having a go or anything. I'm just trying to run through the like checklist in my head too. Right? So see how powerful this tool is, and see how, you know, you can use it not only for yourself and situations that are happening for you, but you can actually change your reactions depending on, you know, what's happening in a scenario where you're talking to a client, or where you're talking to your partner, or where you're talking maybe to your kids. I don't know if that's like trying to, what's the word? Like trying to, you know, reconcile with insanity or something like that, trying to talk to your kids. This may work, this may not also, but you'll be able to see what's going on for them. All right. So it's really interesting stuff. And as I said, true empathy and understanding happens down here. So for you, when those thoughts of, but I just don't feel like a trainer, but I just don't look like a trainer. This is why I keep having to look at the piece of paper. I'm having a moment. But I just don't look like a trainer. When that comes in and you go, oh, but I just don't look like a trainer. You know, like they want me to make a live video, or I've got to go do my lead generation, which means I'm going to have to put myself out there and I'm going to have to stop hiding. And I have a fear of judgment because in my past, I had some really shitty friends that would judge me all the time. And I remember finding out that they would judge me. And then I was so fucking heartbroken. And so now I have this need to feel loved and to feel safe and secure in my friendships and in my work environment and, you know, with my clients and things like that. All right. And your behaviors might be, well, you're procrastinating, or you're doing self-sabotage, or you're getting very busy and then not actually going and doing your lead generation, or going and creating that video, you know, that you need to create. But there's an amazing thing that you can do, which is flip the script on what's happening. All right. You have to give it validity. So it's not about going, oh, there you are again, stupid thought of fear of judgment. Like, there you are, stupid thought. Oh, that's so dumb. Like, why am I even thinking that? Fuck that. Like, go away. It's not that. You actually have to do the opposite. You have to go, oh, okay. There is my fear of judgment coming up. Thanks, fear of judgment. You know, you've kept me safe in the past. And I wrote a little script down for you guys as well. And I'm going to paste this into the comments if you want it. Like just, comment below, script, and I'll pop it in so you guys have it, right? Because this is an amazing tool so that you can, validate what's actually going on for you, while at the same time retraining your brain to step forward in a different way. Does that make sense? So what you can say, and as I said, just comment below script, and I will absolutely paste this into the comment section for you guys. What you can say, is, hello there. You can do it in your brain. Hello there, fear of acceptance. You seem to be popping up again, and that's okay. You are totally valid based on my past experience and fears. All right? But I choose to have a different experience now. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I'm still safe putting myself out there. I'm still safe doing lead generation. I'm still safe making videos. I'm still safe being seen in my business. All right? And amazing things are going to come of this. And I have so much evidence to prove that to be true. And then what you need to do is you need to list your evidence. Because the thing is, if you're sitting there saying, but I just don't look like a trainer, and that's what you're telling yourself. Remember I said your reticular activating system, the evidence finder, is going to find the evidence of that. But if you're saying to yourself, hello there, fear. There you are again. Hello, anxiety. Hello, anxiety, because I'm happy. Like, what? I'm happy. Like, hello, anxiety. Thanks for coming up for me. Like, I can see that you're there, and I know that you come up. Fear, this anxiety comes up because I'm safe and I'm having an amazing time and I'm secure. And I know that you just want to keep me safe, but that's okay. You don't need to come up for me anymore. I don't need to feel anxious just because I'm happy. All right? And I choose to have a different experience of life now. And my past does not dictate my future. And so I choose to focus on the amazing things, and I choose to focus on the happinesses. And here is evidence of my gratitude and of my happinesses and why life is okay and why I am safe. And then you list the things. Does that make sense? So for you, but I just don't look like a trainer. What it might be is listing things like, but I have 20 clients who absolutely fucking love and adore me. And we are goddesses and we hang out together and we have such an impactful group to one another, as a collective. All right. I have compliments where they come to me and they say, oh my God, you changed my life. You've had that compliment. I know you fucking have, because you wouldn't be here otherwise. All right. I know you have changed someone's life. So remember that and sit in the gratitude of that and go, oh my gosh, you're right. I don't have to have massive fucking biceps to have the care, to have the empathy, to have the experience, to have the understanding that can change a person's life. And here is the evidence of me doing that. Here are the compliments that people have given me. Here is my gratitude for everything that I have right now. Thank you, fear of acceptance. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, fear of judgment, for coming up. But I just don't actually need you anymore. And at the end of the day, as I said, you can fear something and do it anyway. So yeah, you may have a fear of judgment. You may have a fear of success. You may have a fear of failure. You may have a fear of whether you're actually worthy or whether you're enough to your tribe. If you're actually fearing that, it means you care. You care to be enough. And so you probably already are, right? But the thing is, what you don't want to do is self-sabotage or sit in imposter syndrome or procrastinate or, not do the things that you need to do to put yourself out there. If you are hiding, if you are not doing your lead generation, if you are not making live videos or whatever it is that is being stifled because you keep telling yourself, but I just don't look like a trainer. It's a bullshit story, all right? And it is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of worthlessness, fear of safety, fear of whatever it is. And that's okay. Thanks, fear, for being there. I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I choose to have a different experience in my life now. And here is the evidence of why things are different. And what will happen when you start to list those gratitudes and those that evidence-based stuff, because the evidence is there, just look for it, right? When you start to list it, your reticular activating system, the evidence finder of the brain, will find more like thoughts. A client will come up to you tomorrow and give you an amazing compliment, and you'll go, I don't have to have a massive butt to have been able to change somebody's life. I don't have to have huge biceps to have been able to affect that person in such an impactful way. How amazing is that? All right? And the evidence finder will continue to find more evidence of why you are enough, why you are safe, why you are loved, why you are worthy, and why you belong. All right, guys, I look forward to hearing what you think about today's training. As I said, it's super deep, it's super impactful. If you want that script, all right, so that you can change it and adapt it and make it your own so that it resonates with you, so that when this stuff starts coming up, when you're feeling triggered, when the voices in your head start telling you you're not good enough or you're not worthy, or, you start being defensive or feeling whatever, all right, angry or something like that, you can actually move through this quite easily in your own experience in your own life. And, I've my partner and I, like I said, we sat there, he knows this drawing, and it changes the way that we're able to interact with one another because we have true empathy and understanding. It happens down here. All right? So it's so important. And as I said, I'm not saying this isn't super hard, but it's not fucking easy either, because you have to have that internal perspective and do some self-reflection. And can I tell you, emotion doesn't necessarily come easy to me either. So if you're sitting there going, oh God, I have to emote, oh my Lord, that's fucking triggering me having to emote. Man, I'm so, I used to be bad at naming it to tame it. Right? I'd be like, I don't know, I'm angry. I'm just angry. And it's well, what's under that? I don't know, anger. Just frustration. I'm pissed off. That was fucking offensive. And it's no, actually, there's other stuff going on. All right? And when you can name the emotion and you can work out what's actually happening and what's being triggered and what the need or the unmet need is, based on your experience and your history, then you are able to change the trajectory of your existence and your life and the lives of the people around you, because true empathy and understanding happens down here. Does that make sense, you guys? So again, I hope this tool has been super helpful. I will take a photo of that and I will put it in the comments below. And if you want me to post the script, just write script into the comments, because I'd love to share this with so many more people, because let me tell you, you are enough. You are safe, you are loved, you are worthy, you belong, and you do look like a trainer, because you are a trainer and you're allowed to be human. We're all here, energetic, amazing beings here for a human experience. All right? And that's all your clients want, is they want you and they want your realness. All right. Love you guys. Bye.